Hello, students, and welcome to our new unit, Unit 6. We're going to be talking about exponents and start out with some monomials and talk about some exponent rules. But for now, we'll start with our do now. So let me get our pen ready. We'll start with our do now, where we have a prompt about stress and anxiety. Hopefully, talking about will give us some tools on how not to let it get to us. Our objective will be to perform operations on monomials. We're going to do addition, subtraction, and multiplication today. Our essential question: what are the rules for adding, subtracting, and multiplying monomials? So remember, we're going to do our do now. This is our assignment, our do now. We'll watch the video. We have 2 pages today. We have an exit ticket and then turn in photos of your work. You can either upload those. If you're having trouble with the upload, just email them to me, but I prefer the upload. We do have a homework 6.1, adding, subtracting, and multiplying monomials. Remember, the absolute last day to turn in any Unit 5 makeup work is Monday, March 8th. So if you still have Unit 5 work you haven't turned in, let's get that done. So we'll come back to our exit ticket. Our do now is about understanding stress and anxiety. So they're not the same thing. Stress is an emotional and or physical response to something outside of us, something external. That's stress. Anxiety is the persistent or excess worry that feels out of your control. So one is maybe the result of the other, causes the other, or a consequence of the other, but they are not the same. Now, but they're both problematic and they often work together. So, how does, let's say, the announcement of final exams or SBAC testing affect your emotions, your thoughts, and your body? And we do have physical responses to stress. And think about that, and also think about how you can use some of the tools we've learned about this year to combat that. So please write your answer there. Talk about it. If you talk about it, it's no longer something that's just yours. You can share it and get help with it. Okay, so our lesson is on monomials or operations, okay, on monomials. And so a monomial is a number or a variable or a product of numbers and variables. So that's when we multiply. So for example, we can have 5x. We could have 3x squared. We could have 9x squared, y to the 7th. These are all monomials. How about negative 5 over 2x y to the 4th, or negative 6 over 11? All of these are monomials. But monomials with the same variables and the same exponents are called like terms. So to add or subtract monomials, you simply combine like terms. So let's see what that looks like. Now remember, do not change the variables and exponents, okay? So let's try a few of these. So we're simply adding or subtracting. So I've got like terms here. So if I have 17 minus 25x, that difference is 8x. If I've got negative 23y squared plus 6y squared, I can combine those because they're the same, they're like terms. That would be negative 17y squared. Number 3, 15a to the third power bc plus 6 to the third, 6 times 6a to the third power bc. So we have like terms, so that would be negative 9a to the third power bc. So we'll just need to combine the 6, the negative 15 and the 6. Like terms again in number 4. So 38 x squared y minus x squared y is basically, we've got an invisible 1 here. So that's 38 minus 1, 37 x squared y. Number 5, 2ab plus 9ac. You cannot combine those, so they are simplified as much as they can be. Negative 8mn plus 9mn, negative 8 plus 9 is 1, and we simply write that mn. Okay, we do not write the leading coefficient of 1. Number 7, we have 2/5 cd squared minus 1/3 cd squared. Those are like terms, so we need to find a common denominator. That could be 15ths, excuse me, so that would be 6/15 cd squared minus 5/15 cd squared. So 6 minus 5 equals 1/15 cd squared. And that's our answer there. Number 8, negative 25 x to the fourth y to the third minus 25 x to the fourth y to the third. We have like terms, so it's negative 25 minus 25, which is negative 50 x to the fourth y to the third. Number 9, 3y plus 9z plus 4y minus 3z. Let's combine like terms. We'll start with y. 3 plus 4 is 7y. And for the z terms, 9 minus 3 is positive 6z. And that's the final answer. Number 10, we have 8a and nothing to combine it with, so we're finished with the a's. And then we have 12b minus 10b, which is a positive 2b. Number 11, 13w plus 9w plus 4w squared. Oh, the 13 was w squared, plus 9w plus 4w squared minus 31w. So here they're all w, but we cannot combine a w squared with a w. So we'll look at the w squared. We have 13w squared plus 4w squared, so that's 17w squared. Then we have 9 minus 31w, which is a negative 22w. Number 10, we have 10m squared n plus 7mn squared minus n squared n. So 7mn squared is not going to combine with anything, but we do have an invisible 1, so negative 1m squared n. So it would be 10 minus 1, which would be 9m squared n plus 7mn squared. Those cannot be combined. They're not like terms. Okay, number 13, we're introducing words a little bit. Find the sum, that means we're adding, of 16y squared and negative 5y. Well, 16 minus 5 is 11y squared, and they are like terms. We can combine them. Find the difference of 10x squared y and 2x squared y. So that would be 10x squared y minus 2x squared y to give us 8x squared y. And number 15, we're going to subtract 9a from 15a. That's one of our turnaround phrases. So it would be negative 15a minus 9a, which would equal negative 24a. And number 10, from negative 9 CD squared, subtract negative 2, or CD squared, I almost thought it was an A, CD squared. So from negative 9, subtract negative 2. So that would be negative 9 CD squared minus a negative 2 CD squared. And we know that when we subtract a negative, it's adding a positive. So that would be negative 9 plus 2, which would be negative 7 CD squared. So now let's talk about multiplying monomials. So to multiply, you use the product rule. And the product rule says that x to the a power times x to the b power equals x to the a plus b power. So whatever a and b are, you add them together when you multiply monomials. So when you multiply monomials, you use the product rule, which means you add the exponents. So let's look at these three examples, 17, 18, and 19. So x squared times x to the third power would be x to the 2 plus 3 power, which equals x to the 5th power. Number 18, a to the 9th power times a would be a to the 9 plus 1, because we have an invisible 1 there in that exponent, which would equal a to the 10th power. Number 19, w to the 7th power times w to the 4th power would be w to the 7 plus 4, which equals w to the 11th power. Now, if you've got an example with coefficients, first you multiply the coefficients, then you simplify the variables with the product rule. Again, x to the a power times x to the b power equals x to the a plus b power. So looking at number 20, we have 4x squared times 3x to the 5th power. So 4 times 3 is 12, and x, 2 plus 5 is 7. And that's our answer. 3x to the 6th power times 5x to the 2nd power. 5 times 3 is 15. X, 6 plus 2 is 8. Number 22, 5x squared times 6x to the 4th power. That would be 6 times 5 is 30. Then our x, and 2 plus 4 makes 6. Number 23, we have negative 4, a to the 3rd power b, times 3, a to the 2nd power b to the 5th. So negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. A, 3 plus 2 is 5. B, 1 plus 5 is 6. So that would be negative 12, a to the 5th power, b to the 6th power. And number 24, we have negative 7, p to the 9th power, q to the 3rd power, r, times negative 4, p to the 2nd power, q to the 6th power, r to the 4th power. So negative 7 times negative 4 is 28. So our p would be 9 plus 2, 11. Our q would be 3 plus 6, 9. And our r would be 1 plus 4, which is 5. And number 25, we're going to multiply the expression 8x to the fourth y to the second power times negative 3x to the fourth y to the ninth power. So 8 times 3, negative 3, is negative 24. And then we have our x, 4 plus 4 is 8, and our y, 2 plus 9, is 11. Number 26, we have 2y times negative 5y squared times 3y to the third power. So 2 times 5, 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. Negative 10 times 3 is negative 30. So y to the first, this is an invisible 1 here, times y to the second times y to the third is y to the 1 and 2 make 3 and 3 make 6, y to the sixth power. And number 27, we have the quantity AB multiplied by 6A5B multiplied by negative AB. So visible 1, you could say, in front of AB and negative AB. So 1 times 6 is 6 times negative 1 would be negative 6. And the A's would be 1 plus 5 is 6 plus 1 is 7, because you have to count those invisible ones. And the B's would be B to the first, second, third, B to the third. Number 28, negative 2xy times xy times 3x squared y to the third. So negative 2 times 1 is negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. And then we have x times x times x squared. So that would be x to the first. So x 1 plus 1 plus 4, x to the fourth. Because when we multiply exponents, we add them. The y's are 1, 2, and 3 more make 5. Okay, on to number 29, 6m times 7m squared, n times n4 to the fourth. So 6 times 7, we'll do that first, that's 42. And m, this is an invisible 1, this is an invisible 1. So m times m squared is m to the third, and n has a power of 1 plus a power of 4, that makes n to the fifth. Number 30, we have a quantity of 8c squared d times the quantity of 10c to the third d to the fifth. Well, 8 times 10 is 80, and we have the c to the 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth, and d to the fifth, and 1 here, 6. And that's your final answer. Number 31, negative 4 times the quantity rs squared times the quantity negative 5r4s. So negative 4 times negative 5 is a positive 20. R times r to the fourth is r, 1 plus 4, which is 5. And s, we have 2 here, an exponent of 2, and an exponent of 1 here. 2 plus 1 is 3. So I'm going to actually rewrite that so you can read that a little bit better. There we go. And number 32, negative 6a squared b times 1/2 ab. So negative 6 times 1/2 is negative 3. And we have a 2 plus 1 is 3, and then B, 1 plus 1 is 2. And number 33, 12y times the quantity of 2/3 xy to the fourth power. 12 times 2/3 is 8. And we have our x, just one of them, and our y to the fifth. And number 34, 1/4 times the quantity 8mn times the quantity -6m squared n squared. So first we do 1/4 of 8 is 2, and 2 times -6 is -12. And m to the first power plus m to the second power is m to the third power. And the same with n to the first power times n to the second power is n to the third power. So now we've got 4 mixed practice problems. These are a little more challenging, but slow and true will do it. Now make sure you show all the steps. So here we start with the left side. 2 times 4 is 8. X to the fifth and 1 is 6. Y to the 2 plus 3 is 5. Plus, on the right side, we have 3 times 1 is 3. X to the 4 plus 2 is 6. Y to the 4 plus 1 is 5. Now, we have like terms here, so we can combine them. 8 plus 3 is 11, and we have x to the 6th power, y to the 5th power. Okay, number 36, we'll start on the left side. 4 times 5 is 20, and that's a to 3 plus 1 is 4, b, 4 plus 2 is 6. And then on the right side, we have -2 times 1, so that's -2. A, 2 plus 2 is 4. B, 5 plus 1 is 6. So now we have like terms, a to the 4th, b to the 6th. 20 take away 2 is 18. A, 4, b to the 6th. Number 37, we have 19m8n8 minus 4m to the 5th n times 3m to the 3rd n7. Let's deal with the right side of the equation first, because that's what the order of operations always tells us to do. So I'm just going to write the first part. 4 times 3 is 12. And we have m to the 8th, n to the 8th. Now we have like terms. We fix that 19. That should be 19 m to the 8th, n to the 8th. So now we have those like terms. 19 minus 12 is 7. M to the 8th, n to the 8th. Okay, the left side of this problem, -5 times -3 is +15. C, 1 plus 4 is 5. D, 1 plus 1 is 2. Minus 7 times 2 is 14. C, 2 plus 3 is 5. D, 2. So let's subtract 14 from 15, and that will leave 1, C, 5, D, 2. But remember, when it's one of a variable, it becomes invisible. So for homework, try this one page, and I think you could get a lot of them right. And let's go back meanwhile and do our exit ticket, which asks to add or subtract a monomial You simply do what? What is it we said we do? We combine like terms. So let's write that down. Now, to multiply monomials, we use the product rule. As an example, we could use, let's use a variable we haven't used much yet. Let's use t. So if we have t to the a power times t to the b power, that would equal t to the a plus b power. So let's put it into numbers. 5 to the second plus 5 to the third equals, or times, excuse me, I didn't mean to write plus, I meant to write times, equals 25, and then it will be 2 plus 3, and we simplify that to 25 to the fifth power. And that's all for today. Please do your homework. Please stay current in algebra. Don't get yourself behind and feel lost. If you stay on top of it from the beginning, you will do well. And just keep practicing, because you know as you do, you'll be great.